I've always had a soft spot for stop motion. For all my life, ever since I watched The Nightmare Before Christmas when I was like 5, stop motion has always been one of the most interesting animation mediums I've ever seen. Even bad stop motion movies kinda get me to respect them because I can tell they were at least trying, because you don't make a stop motion movie if you want to make a quick buck. Because stop motion is neither quick nor does it rake in any bucks. If you want an example, the highest grossing stop motion movie is Chicken Run, which raked in $224.8 million. And The Lion King made $965.8 million. So yeah, stop motion is usually made more out of passion, whether it be good or bad, rather than, money. So anyway, Pinocchio. I'm beginning to realize that a lot of Pinocchio movies have been releasing recently. It's a weird coincidence now that I think about it. But I'm not talking about that Russian one that everyone laughed at.
Father, when can I leave to be on my own? I've got the whole world to see.
Or the shitty Disney remake that no one cares about. I'm gonna be telling you all about excuse me one moment.
Guillermo del Toro.
You
idiot.
Who I'll just be referring to as Del Toro for my sake. Pinocchio. If you don't know, Del Toro recently released his passion project Pinocchio onto Netflix to critical acclaim, but we here on this channel want to ask, does it live up to the hype? Yeah, it does. But you guys don't want to hear me just say something is good. You guys want to hear why it's good. Oh, you needy fucking bitches. But it's alright, I like talking about animated movies anyway, so let's get into it. Let me tell you why Pinocchio is so great. By the way, I'll be doing my absolute best to avoid really big spoilers, but I will be spoiling some parts of the story, so if you want to go in completely blind, just stop here, watch the movie, because it's great, and then come back when you're done. So Pinocchio is both similar to the story we all know, which is probably from the Disney version, because I don't think a lot of you have read the original fairy tale, but also has some very interesting differences, not all of which I will go into in this video. One of the differences being that this movie takes place in fascist Italy during World War II under Mussolini, and Geppetto's son was actually killed in a bombing, and Pinocchio was made from the tree his dead son planted, I believe, like the day before he died, which also just so happens to be the tree that Sebastian J. Cricket has also decided to live in. Very unfortunate for him. You see, Sebastian has but one desire, to write an autobiography about his very interesting life and sell it to become super fucking rich. And when the fairy comes and brings Pinocchio life, he gets his chance. If he steers Pinocchio on the right path, the fairy will grant him one wish, and that wish can be literally whatever he wants. And be honest now, if you were in Sebastian's situation, you would almost definitely use your wish for the same thing. Don't lie to me now. And when Pinocchio comes to life the next day and Geppetto finds him, the music and the way it's shot reminds me of a horror film, and then it cuts to Pinocchio singing this jolly song asking Geppetto what random things are before using them and just destroying Geppetto's things. And after that jolly old time, Pinocchio follows Geppetto to church where the town is just absolutely disgusted by this wooden boy. And this fascist guy decides that Pinocchio has to go to school tomorrow, so Geppetto sends him to school tomorrow. And just like in the fairy tale, Pinocchio meets not Honest John, it's a random circus ringleader. To be honest, he's the most forgettable character in the film. But anyway, he makes Pinocchio sign a contract, and then Pinocchio performs with him, and he's a smash hit. Then Geppetto finds him, and then Pinocchio gets fucking ran over and actually dies. and then meets Death, who is the fairy from earlier's sister, and Death explains that when Pinocchio dies, he has to wait longer each time before he can come back to life. And when he does come back to life, the fascist guy wants to put him in the military to fight the war because, well, he's literally invincible, and the ringleader wants him back in the circus because, well, Pinocchio did sign a contract. Geppetto scolds Pinocchio and calls him a burden, so Pinocchio traps Sebastian in a glass cup and then leaves and runs to the circus, making a deal with Not Honest John that half of his earnings will be sent to Geppetto. But of course, Not Honest John just doesn't honor this at all and just pockets all the money for himself. Geppetto also goes looking for Pinocchio with Sebastian, but he always seems to just miss Pinocchio, and eventually him and Sebastian get eaten by Monstro, which is the big whale. Pinocchio also discovers that all the money he's earning isn't being sent to Geppetto, so when he's scheduled to perform for Mussolini, he sings a song that insults fascism, Italy, and Mussolini. I should also mention that Mussolini is voiced by Tom Kenny and says he really likes puppets. And that joke may not seem really funny until you realize that Mussolini is a dictator, so of course he'd like puppets. And after insulting everything about Mussolini, Italy, and fascism in general, Mussolini has Pinocchio killed and then burns down the circus, destroying Honest John's entire livelihood. And when Pinocchio comes back from death, he's on this movie's equivalent to Pleasure Island, which is a military youth camp. And they do all these training things, they have a pretend war with paintballs. And when Pinocchio wins said war, or I guess he has a draw in said war, the fascist guy makes his son kill Pinocchio. But his son refuses to do it, and Pinocchio escapes, and he goes to save Geppetto. And I think I'm gonna stop explaining the movie here. I want you to see how it ends for yourself, because it is a great movie, and I think most of you would really like it. So to all of you who are undoubtedly using this video as a way to just substitute watching the movie, go watch it. But finish the video first and like it and subscribe. Anyway, it's now time for the part that I've been waiting to gush about. It's now time to discuss music. What did you think I was gonna say? The music in Pinocchio is honestly a little forgettable. I really can't remember most of them. I remember the first song Pinocchio sang and Ciao Papa, which is definitely the best song in the film. But other than that, it's kind of bland. Music is kind of, I don't know, forgettable, maybe a bit generic. This movie doesn't really feel like it needed to be a musical, you know? It was already great, but then they just added music, and it kind of feels a bit shoehorned in. Except, of course, Ciao Papa, which is actually a really good song. And this isn't me being someone who just hates musicals. Listen, as I said in the beginning of the video, a musical is literally what got me into stop motion, okay? I love musicals. But, I don't know. It's just kind of unneeded in this movie. But I've delayed it no longer. Now that we're done talking about the music, let's talk about the animation. Anyway, yeah, the animation in Pinocchio is fucking gorgeous. It is one of the best stop-motion films I've ever seen. Nay, one of the best animated films of this year, visual-wise alone. In every single frame, you can see just the passion that everyone working on this film had. It's just beautiful. Some of the standout designs, in my opinion, are both the fairies and Pinocchio himself, the star of the show, and Monstro. The first fairy, the life fairy as I call her, gives me some real kinda biblically accurate angel vibes. Like she's got eyes all over her wings, and it's really cool. And the death fairy looks like a beast, like a monster. She's got these claws, she's got like this animal-like body, and she's just super menacing. And Pinocchio, I love how he actually looks like an unfinished puppet. Like, he doesn't have hair, he just has this placeholder hair, these just weird spikes on the back of his head, and his eyes are just two dots and looks like they would be markers for where his eyes would go. And I love how instead of his nose just extending, like even the Disney version did it, it actually like grows like a tree. Like it has branches and leaves and even fruit. It's just such a cool idea, and Monstro is just perfectly menacing. And he manages to be menacing without a stupid evil laugh that Disney's remake gave him. And this one, he doesn't really feel like, well, a monster. He doesn't feel like he's actively just vicious and evil. He's just this force of nature. It's just chef's kiss. It's just beautiful. This movie is just beautiful all around. The set design, the character design, the animation itself, it's just all amazing. So go watch it right now. Once this video is done, I want you to go onto Netflix and watch it. And to give you a little tidbit that may make you a bit more interested in watching this, and the people who watch this movie know what I'm talking about, the way Pinocchio becomes a real boy in this movie is super clever. And you'll also get to see Tom Kenny play Mussolini, so it's a win-win. You get to watch a cool movie, see a really clever interpretation of an old fairy tale, and see Tom Kenny be Mussolini, which is like the third Pinocchio movie Tom Kenny's been in. That's another weird coincidence, actually. Anyway, I'm rambling. That's it for the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, why don't you press the like button and maybe dislike it if you didn't like the video. Maybe leave a comment telling me what you thought of the video or what you thought of Pinocchio. And if you really like this video, subscribe and turn on notifications so you can see all the new videos that I have coming very soon. I've been Emerald, and bye.
I love